IG continuing their dominance in the LPL after picking up a 2-0 clean victory over long-term rivals Team WE. But with that set done, we're moving into the second match that we have here at the Super Brand Mall Arena, which is going to be BLG taking on Jingdong Gaming.
Yeah, and this match is about a lot of soul searching coming out from both teams right now. We're seeing huge changes in the roster. BLG used to bring their brought their new substitutes in Mole and Chieftain onto the map, while Jingdong are solidifying their roster changes with RD.
We've seen RD stepping up as the new AD carry for JDG. He previously played in the LMS, so he has a lot of experience, but is a rookie to this league. But he has impressed so far, and as you mentioned, these two teams are doing some soul searching, and a big part about that is the fact that they're currently both 6-6 in their respective conferences. With only 2 days of cross-conference left to play, they'll be trying to get these crucial points to start moving closer towards a playoff run.
A lot of pressure being put on Jingdong right here because they're currently sitting at 5th place, right outside of the gates of playoffs. But before we go into them, I want to talk a little bit about BLG and why they are doing soul searching right now. We call them the tortoise for playing slow. I think they're also the platypus because they're a random collection of animal parts. They have separate strengths, but none of those strengths actually add up into a win condition for them. You talk about Athena, late game hyper carry, Azir, but they don't have that late game hyper carry AD to really pull off the team fight. They have a strong top lane, but they don't play for one.
You've got some interesting analogies there, Clement. You want to lock people in basements and you call the team a platypus. But let's take a look at their lineup. Zoom, Clid, Yakao, RD, as well as Lumao.
So they are still going with their RD and Clid roster so far. Clid was sidelining for a while, but after he's came back, definitely shown signs of improvement.
Whereas for the side of BLG, it's Amazing J, SKS, Athena, Jinjiao, and Road.
So in their last matchup against Suning, they were ran off of the map. The pacing was so fast from Suning that Athena and SKS could not hold. They tried to play Mole in the mid lane just because he had that Scion pick. The big test today is if Athena can catch up to the 8.4 meta, or is he still going to be lagging behind?
Because someone has to shut down Yakao in the mid lane, because so far not many mid laners have been able to do just that, especially when Zoe was running rampant on the Rift, teams were giving it over to Yakao, and that was crucial to JDG's success. And the flip side for BLG, they had a great start to the split of the LPL, but since then it's just been all uphill for them.
Yeah, they have been playing in the weaker region, which we later found out was actually the Western Conference, and the cross-conference section for them so far has not been doing well. They're currently on a 4-match losing streak, so if this falls off for them, there's a really good chance that W will able to leapfrog over them in the standings.
And they'd probably be excited that, you know, this is the last game they're going to be playing in cross-conference before going back to regular conference, because that's where they did well. But you have to keep in mind that moving towards playoffs, they're going to be playing against the respective conferences once again, which is really scary seeing how dominant the East side is at the moment.
Yeah, it's just the question of what is BLG's win condition currently? Because we heard their coach say that we go into the late game team fighting because we can't play the early game. Now, that's not a good strength to be known for if it's just something that your team can barely do. They're not going to be able to stand up to IG and WE in the late game team fights, even in their own conferences. So, soul searching moment. I want to see what Athena and SKS can actually bring to the table on 8.4.
We're about to get into that second match of the day, but remember, right now, EDG is taking on LGD at LGD's home arena. If you want to catch that broadcast, the Chinese broadcast is covering it, and it's over at Panda TV as well as douyu.com. But let's send it over straight towards our shoutcast as we're going to get into this next match, BLG taking on Jingdong Gaming.
Thank you so much, guys. We're going to be taking over the cast desk here with the hair that will destroy ozone layers is what I've been hearing. That's my new favorite meme from Twitch chat.
My hair is much kinder on the environment.
That's true. Well, most of it's me, but I'm still saying it's like, you know, a good 80-20 split. Like, you still are contributing.
What's an 80-20 split is how much I had to adjust my chair to be level with Pulse over here.
I'm just saying that because I'm actually 8 foot tall in real life. But anyway, let's get into this matchup. So JD Gaming versus BLG. I like what the analyst was talking about with the platypus, of course. We'll definitely get into that because I actually love platypus. But BLG definitely have major problems because their team fight, great. But they just cannot get to their team fights, and they very much identify that themselves, but getting to that point has always been a struggle for them. So we need to see if, actually in this Champions Select, they have a way to try and bridge that gap.
And I know Clement was talking on the desk about identity crisis or trying to do some soul searching, but I actually think both these teams understand exactly what their identity is. And the issue is that they're having a crisis about that. Both these teams have very strong shells that they like to run, or very specific playstyles and compositions. JDG, or Jingdong Gaming, really like to focus around the Galio. Now, what's interesting here is previously against Vici Gaming, they played all of their games on the red side. Today, they are starting on blue side. And usually what they do is they get the Galio and they ban the Azir. But I think they're prioritizing it this time. Yes, Yagao is a phenomenal Azir player. He is known for the pick, but it's more so a takeaway against Athena. Because like they were saying on the analyst desk, Athena has been so brittle on 8.4. He doesn't have a champion pool.
Yeah, also, the Galio has been taken away in this game as well by BLG, as has the Olaf in terms of their bans, and Alistair to round out those. On the opposite side, it was Camille, Vladimir, and Gangplank from JDG Gaming. And we'll take a look at the picks there. So, as you already spoke about, the Azir, but also the Sion and Skarner from BLG, and it will be a return of the Varus for RD.
And you want to hope that Athena can be able to flex that one into the mid lane, and so they're not just playing with fire by showcasing the Sion, even though he is so hard to stop for AJ up in the top lane, but it does fit everything that they want to do. So this is your moment, BLG. Time to shine. Can you use this flex pick as well as other teams in the LPL have been doing? So RNG comes to mind. They used a triple flex with Sion, Vladimir, and Shen. And hopefully BLG have picked up some new tricks.
Yeah, it's got to do with their
Today's
champion
been the day
pools,
of
though.
Jarvan.
It really has. He's definitely just come back into the jungle meta for the LPL. I mean, Jarvan has always been like the pick for the LPL. It's just like guaranteed engage. That sounds pretty good. We can't play Malphite anymore. I guess we're playing Jarvan.
But what's interesting to me is that teams are still prioritizing banning the Olaf. Yes, it was BLG that banned it this time around, but both SKS and Clid do play the Lee Sin. Lee Sin is Clid's #1 play champion, and so there was an option available to leave the Olaf open instead of reaching what I feel like is fairly deep into the jungle champion pool to find the Jarvan.
Yeah, deciding to go for that one in the end. It will be Talia, though, so we're talking about flex picks, but it has actually just all been locked in the first phase here for us.
And this is actually pretty classic from BLG, so they're not utilizing the flex picks. What I dislike about their draft phase, although they've gotten away with it in the Western Conference, is they actually picked their solo lanes relatively early. Now, yes, Athena did technically get the... I'm not going to say counter matchup, but he got to pick into what he knew was going. He sees the Azir, he's picking up the Talia. It's fine, you know, you can match wave priority. You can roam a bit better than the Azir, so you do have windows to impact the map where he cannot. But they do this regardless, you know what I mean? Like, they always priority pick no matter what side they're on, red or blue, and it speaks to the again, brittle champion pools that BLG have across the board. They don't have deep enough champion pools or effective enough champion pools that they can play that flex strategy. And against higher up teams, that's when they get punished.
To try and wait it out. However, JD Gaming are in exactly the same boat as BLG in terms of wins and losses. So in this case, it may actually work out for them, as Fiora and Trundle have been banned out in the top lane. Since they know it's going to be a Sion matchup up there. There will be a Kog'Maw and Rakan towards BLG. So very much targeting that bottom lane.
Yeah, Road is known for his heavy engage style. He does play the Shen support. He'll play things like the Braum. The Rakan certainly fits in. And this is what I thought. By banning the Rakan, you're trying to take a little bit of power away from the Xayah. Usually what you do, though, and it shows the dynamic and the relationship between Road and Jin Zhao, is you actually ban the Xayah because it makes the Rakan less valuable. But Road is one of those players that he would pick it anyway, and it just showcases that, okay, between the bottom lane duo, it's not the AD carry we're afraid of. It is definitely the support.
Yeah, Road so many times was just picking Rakan even when Xayah wasn't getting picked up at all in the LPL, so major threat in the bottom lane has been taken away. So Xayah will be locked in for BLG without her lover. However, JD Gaming, we're going to have a Swain come out once more. It's going to be our third new Swain of the LPL, and I get to cast one.
Yeah, the last time we saw him, he was picked up by Zatai up into the top lane, so we expect to see Zoom take that one away from him. Maybe he feels that he's comfortable at least having some sort of matching power in Sion. I feel like both these champions have so much tankiness and are just very hard to deal with in the top lane that they're never really going to move.
Yeah, that's pretty much how that does work, indeed. So it will be exciting for the first minute as we talk about it, and we probably won't see it
and then
at all
never
for the next
see
15 minutes of the game. Yeah, exactly. So JD Gaming going to pick up that Thresh, though, for the bottom lane for Mao. I'll be going alongside Clid's, or rather RD's Varus. Just looking at Clid, he's picked up the Varus. And back over to BLG. They needed support right now, so where does Road go? We'll see if it is a defensive Braum coming out here as well alongside that Xayah. Allow them to try and kite back a little bit more effectively in the bottom lane. Will indeed beat Braum in the end.
I actually really dislike the Thresh pick here. I understand that you're trying to create safety for some low mobility champions. The Swain, the Varus come to mind with having the Dark Passage available to you, but you could have picked up the Braum before Road got his hands on it, and Braum is known as a decent matchup into Xayah to really eliminate a lot of her damage potential, as well as still set you up the correct CC, because, I mean, Thresh has CC, he's got his death sentence, but it's not as consistent as Braum's, who can start labeling it with the auto attack. So I don't necessarily see I don't necessarily agree with Mao going for a Thresh. Maybe he just feels that much more comfortable, or they need the protection for kind of low mobility carries. We'll see how it works out, though.
I mean, Thresh is always one of those picks, much like, you know, Lee Sin in the olden days. If you feel like you're going to have a good game and you're going to hit those hooks, then why not pick it? You know, if those hooks do land, it's going to be really good for your team.
It also does help that since the Resolve tree is getting buffed up, that he has more viable keystones to go into than he did in past patches, so it's a little bit easier here, but it's kind of make or break right now for JD. And we were talking about those identities, you know, what they like to play. JD's usual composition is the cannonball comps. You know, either they have a Zac, or they have a Jarvan, or they have a Galio, and they just like to use higher mobility, fine skirmishes, and have consistent CC and hard engage to catch you off guard, force these 4v5s or these 3v5s opportunities.
Also, JD was one of the teams that started to suffer a little bit more heading into the 8.4 patch. We saw some teams really start to thrive, like I look towards a team like Rogue Warriors, where the question marks were there. It's like, well, will they actually adapt coming onto a big new patch? Well, they did, but I don't feel like JD have done the same, where when you look at someone like Yagao and then clearly be like, well, that's a pretty good jungle and mid duo, and with so much focus around that 2v2, why isn't it working?
I actually disagree a little bit, just because I think it was actually strength of schedule that really led to that misconception, because they faced the 3 top teams all back to back to back.
That's fair.
And they went on this crazy losing streak. So you look at you like, wow, they're not doing well in this patch, but they had all the rough games out of the way, and now this should be a much easier one for them, because I think this is a playoff rematch that's going to be coming up, because both these teams are the playoff gatekeepers.
Well, let's see if it is all gravy from here on out for that team as we get onto the Rift for Bilibili Gaming and JD Gaming. Both 6-6. We'll see if they can make their playoff runs. Holy.
So,
and he's done for the day. That was his vocal cords, and we'll see you tomorrow.
That guy is part of the Jingdong staff. He shows up to every single game, and he always leads the crowd like that, or the Jingdong fans. But yeah, kind of talking about the playoff run, because we are closing out on cross-conference. You know, week 8 is just around the corner, and yeah, JD aren't in position just yet, but if you look at their previous record in their domestic conference, the only teams they dropped to were the top teams, and then everyone who's firmly beneath them, they beat. So I feel like they truly are a gatekeeper, and it is a very, very likely that our first playoff gauntlet match will probably be BLG versus JDG.
So we might be getting a preview right here and now. I'm just taking a quick look towards these keystones, seeing
another glacial augment.
Standard stuff across the board, but is indeed a glacial augment on that Swain in the top lane here, going inspiration first as well.
So Pulse, I know you like to talk about top lane. Do you have anything to add here? Excite me. Give it to me. Although, as I say that, cheese gank level mid.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Clid first. He comes in for the flag and drag. No flash out yet from Athena, though he has burnt the heal. So he managed to escape with one of those summoners, but we'll see if Clid follows the school of thought that FLICKR has, which is if I cheese gank level 2, I'll gank another 2 times until I get the kill.
But it works so well because now Talia doesn't have a summoner, relatively low on mana, doesn't have a lot of health, and you can start causing hell for Skarner. What's he gonna do? He's like, I'm probably gonna have to back after this.
I mean, look at him. Clid's looking for it. It's like, Athena, if you don't recall or you don't play towards bottom side of the lane, I am going to gank you again, or I'm just going to go top. This guy is actually just FLICKR and Incarnate right now, moving towards the top lane, looking for a gank onto Amazing J. Zoom needs to try and set this one up with the Nether move, but it is a pain in the balls to try and get that one through them anyway. But we flag, drag, flash!
Oh,
beautiful
so well
stuff
done.
out from Clid. And Amazing J trapped in place, dragged back to his death.
And it's just that easy. That's why you cheese gank. No one ever suspects it right there. Beautiful mechanics, though, from Clid. That is a very hard thing to do, to set the flag drag and then make sure you can hit the displacement with the flash. Executes it on it beautifully. Doesn't even take the red buff. He's like, my job is done.
Let's take a look at that one more time. We really just have to pay attention to this flag, drag, flash, which was so nice.
Yeah, Ning and Clearlove are the other Jarvan players that come to mind to be able to do it that consistently. Of course, Clearlove, we haven't seen him at all in 2018, but Clid showcasing that he's not just a Lee Sin one trick, that he can also style on the J4.
He can indeed. We're going to have a quick pause here, ladies and gentlemen. So we're just going to try and figure out what that is, and then, of course, relay that information back to you. But yeah, we can spend a little bit of time talking about that top lane. You're pretty much dead on with your estimates, though, FLICKR.
I'm looking at it, I'm pretty sure nothing is going to happen without jungle involvement here, that they're just going to kind of bounce the waves back and forth.
Yeah, pretty much. And you would look towards level 6s, really, to look at breaking points for a lot of top laners. But in this situation, you hit level 6 as Swain, and it's like, well, I can hit ultimate, but it's not really going to kill the Sion, so I guess I just won't. And then Sion maybe has a little bit of kill pressure there. there just because it's Sion right now. He's so incredibly strong, especially in point-blank ranges when you can guarantee the ultimate hitting. But yeah, probably won't be able to see anything until we get outside of laning phase.
And this is 8.4, but I've actually heard very good things about Swain on 8.5, so could also possibly be looking towards the future.
Yeah.
The LPL has been known to do this in the past, where because sometimes a region is a little bit delayed to switching over patches, that players will play things in the next patch over in a competitive game, simply because a lot of them do scrims with Korean teams or would play on the Korean server at the time, and so they would be used to the forward patches.
I mean, even this split, banned up cannon minions was a thing even before we saw the Baron changes come in, and it was still effective just because people realized the item was so efficient in terms of gold towards its efficiency as an item. So yeah, we definitely saw some of that this split, but now we're mostly caught up. We're on 8.4 now. We'll be on this patch for a while. 8.5, not too much changes. There's small changes, but for the most part, in terms of large sweeping changes for the game, this will essentially be what we'll be looking towards until we get to our playoffs here in the LPL.
Yeah, it's just slight tweaks here and there. Do you know if Kai'Sa is going to be available?
I mean, hopefully. I know she is available on 8.4 on live, on 8.5 on live, I should say, but usually it's 2 weeks after release.
I believe EU was talking about how she wouldn't be available because their regular split is just about to end, but because we had Chinese New Year, we may get lucky. We'll have to check.
We definitely will. It'll be fun to watch Kai'Sa, but a lot of the changes that happened that made her a good champion were on the next patch, so people might not even pick her even if she is released.
I mean, we were the first region to get to play Galio in the playoffs just because, again, Chinese New Year had delayed us, and so Galio had been out for 2 weeks, so he was legal and competitive, so every other region went to the playoffs, couldn't play the Galio, and we just started smashing people with it.
We're just telling you this now because we might be the only region with Kai'Sa, so you know where to look if you want some professional Kai'Sa play. It's the LPL.
We've had some pretty silly things happen. My favorite one was when Lucian wasn't disabled when the adjustments and the rework. If you want to know how Uzi got to Worlds in 2014, because Stockholm Royal Club, they were not doing well. It's because the LPL had Lucian live when every other region had disabled him for the rework.
Yeah, it was a lot. I believe it was 11 games.
It was 28.
Okay, it was more than double that. So 28 games. You know, at some point you just have to be like, why didn't anyone just ban the champion?
Ban it? No, it's fine.
Okay, don't even worry about it, guys. We're back into game. 4 minutes in. JD Gaming and BLG. Athena, let's talk about this matchup.
We're done with that.
We've got we're done for now. We've got Talio against Azir coming in here, and we've also got Clay joining the matchup.
This is
everywhere.
Round number 3. He has the bloodlust, it's real.
Yeah, he's going to go for Crab first. He's got to gank this one, and then he might look back towards the middle lane. But the fact that Athena has to play essentially at his tower right now, the fact he's pushed forwards even at this point is scary.
I mean, the nice thing is that he still retained his flash, so, you know, just losing the heal right there, he's probably feeling pretty decent to look for some trades against Yagao, but it's also Yagao's Azir. Yes, this was a takeaway because it does deny a shared champion between their pools. Athena has been playing primarily Azir to really help boost BLG up through the standings, but Yagao, I mean, this is one of the primary champions banned away from him. He is very vocal that he feels he's the best Azir player in the LPL, and he finally got the champion.
I don't know, actually just waiting in the bottom side. Maybe has an inkling that Skarner is around this area looking for the counter gank right here. And there comes a flash out. It will be a 3v3, but it's a 1v1 between junglers right now. Mao, sorry to flash away, but he will be locked down. Great play coming out. Buys a bit of time there as SKS will be forced to flash away. Turns around, lands the death sentence. Will be Rose though. OD turns, gets the kill. Jinjiao looking to kite back, but here comes Swain. He's looking for the lockdown with the never move coming out. Will manage to find it, drags it back towards the team. Flag drag, down goes Jinjiao. Sif Lightning for the kill.
Finds the CC there, is able to pull him back to danger, and now it's Varus who's sitting happy on with the kill, as well as Swain, so definitely pays off for the teleport expended. Now, the only thing that AJ really guts up here is I believe he denies a single creep wave, because it's also a cannon wave coming in, so Swain, perfect timing on that teleport play. He's going to lose virtually nothing.
Could not be better. He gets his back timing as well, moving towards his Catalyst. It only could have been better if he was able to complete the Catalyst instead of going for those small items, but even so, Tia moving towards the item and walking back towards the top lane right here. Zoom is in a fantastic situation for the rest of this early game.
I also want to point out early itemization from Mao. So he's definitely going to be playing a Thresh, and he has his Moby boots already set up, so pulling the Mata special. We know that Bao Len also really likes to do this in the LPL, not necessarily with the Thresh, but with a very early Moby's rush, which we're not seeing a ton from majority of our supports in the league. And I'm curious how it's going to translate onto the map. You can already see he's getting established neutral vision all throughout the river, but usually they like to walk to the top side of mid lane and start throwing hooks, start throwing some CC.
Yeah, that was the Megan special before he renamed back towards a Battleland, but haven't really seen that too much from him, because it hasn't really needed to be honest, because the lanes just kind of win, but saw that earlier today. And we can see Clid moving back towards the top side of the map, taking away some of these wards, also controlling these crabs. I actually don't think I've seen a single crab go over to SKS this game.
And what's super important there is they're against Talia. Talia now, level 6, has access to the ultimate. And so if you look at the Jingdong vision line, they have complete control over the river. So it's actually really hard for Athena not only to escape the lane in terms of priority, although she did get an initial roam right there, but she has to walk through like 16 different wards, so there's plenty of forewarning for all of the lanes to back up.
Now, I am wondering about how much time Zoon's had on the champion, because he definitely just dragged his opponent outside of his visions of Empire, but we won't be talking about that. We'll see if he actually makes more plays later on, as Athena forced a flash here. Yagao was lining up for the Emperor's Divide.
And that pretty much means that Yagao's like, I'm going to bounce this wave, I'm going to hold it next to my tower, and you don't have flash, you will die next time for sure.
Ooh, the hooks are definitely landing this game for us. I feel like I'm starting to feel that pick for Lumao, landing that bit of extra damage onto Road in the bottom lane. May actually force him back to base here as well.
I see you went for the risky full Chinese pronunciation of his name.
I did, yeah.
We were doing classes this week.
Now, yeah, I definitely went through Lumao and LV Mao. Then I got memed by the organization, so I called him Lumao, and then we're back to Lumao.
Yeah, so the meme is Gucci Mao, because Louis Vuitton, LV, because in the English broadcast, that's what we call him. We have been joked and made fun of by Jingdong themselves, so if Gucci Mao wants to go off on the thresh, he gets to wear the nickname proud.
There we go. Athena back into the mid lane, he pushes up, and SKS was here looking for the 2 versus 2. He's going to actually lock down Yagao for a couple seconds, but it leaves Clid plenty of time just to wail on Athena. He gets that kill. Road comes up, but Mao's also here to match. Ping comes out, the death sentence lands. The God Hand is here, and SKS will fall.
And there's that Gucci Mao right there. Makes the roam, has the Mobies, and makes it happen. Like I said, Athena, as soon as your flash is gone, you cannot cross river. You are donezo because there is a massive target. Any Azir player is going to look at that and say, delicious. And that's exactly what happened. Now he's denied its blue buff. It's huge. Talia needs this to keep up with the competent wave clear. She's only got a tier to her name. She needs to build up that early itemization. It means that the mid tower is that much easier to break as power starts shifting towards Azir.
Now, we're 8 minutes into the game. Every member of BLG has 1 death. We'd have to talk about the early game from BLG, since this has definitely been an issue for them, because like, hey, we're good at team fighting, but we almost never get there, and we're seeing a prime example in this early game.
But this also happens every single time. So yeah, they're still good at team fighting, they're still sitting really high up on the standings. BLG do know how to play from behind. I'm not going to say it's great.
Wouldn't it be nice if they were ahead, though? Or even?
But this happens every time. They have the longest average game time in the LPL. I believe Clement initially called them the tortoise before they became the platypus.
Right.
And that still exists to this day. So BLG, they play slow, they lose their lanes constantly, and then they get miracle flanking team fights. And that is how they are sitting so high up in the Western Conference. But
indeed,
this is the Eastern Conference, and East is beast. So.
And Platypus, I like Platypus. You know, I like BLG as well. So maybe we'll see it. Man,
imagine if Azir had a platypus skin.
Why Azir specifically?
Because he's a bird.
Platypus aren't birds.
Well, technically they're mammals, but...
Okay. Yeah, exactly.
Try again. He could be a mammal and just be wearing a bird helmet.
I'll give you a bit of time. We'll get back to it. Pick another champion. Amazing Jay. He's scouting. He sees both Yagao and Clid, but doesn't really want to tangle with that right now. Doesn't have a jungler nearby, so he's going to go back towards the top lane, though we just get information on what Clid is doing. So it allows SKS to wander in, I guess scuttle in, or even drive in. Now he's using the Battlecast skin.
They're trying to set up a play for the bottom lane. Now, there is relatively shallow vision, but you can already see it. RD and Mao understand that Skarner and Talia are looking at the bottom side of the map, that they had moved their own team's resources up towards to secure the blue for Azir, and so they respectively back up. And look at Mao right now. He's like bogarting these Krugs, making sure that no one takes the long path around. They don't have information where Skarner is, and they're just covering all bases.
Yeah, he's ready. He's given enough time, though. I'm going to go back to the lane now. And also the fact that Clid is moving into his bottom side of the jungle. So if SKS is still there, definitely going to be his life on the line. He's going to go back towards his jungle and maybe look towards the bottom lane now. Nope, he's going to go ahead and recall. So no lane going to happen here. Lane pushes in for BLG in the bottom side. Looking towards the mid lane once more as Clid is constantly hovering. I think I've seen him in mid lane maybe 5 or 6 times this game.
Because there's just a giant target there. It's very easy. He's got dedicated CC there with the ultimate with Talia not having flash. It's also why SKS was hanging around the mid lane. He was setting down vision to create a safety net for Athena. Now all of that's been cleared out. You can see that Clid's now placed a control ward. He's got some forward vision. He's looking at the dragon, probably Scuttle Crab right now.
Yeah, this is the awkward time in the top laning phase for a Swain when he hasn't really got a completed item and he's just kind of getting pushed out, doesn't have all that sustain, has burnt for his corrupting potion, and Sion's going to do that annoying thing where he just constantly pushes in the lane.
But he's got his boots.
But he does have his boots, which is nice.
There's always a bright side.
It's just for wave clear, also shoving Amazing J away. Actually, he's going to pop the ultimate there. He was just scared that maybe Zoom was going to keep going on him. He did have a flash, of course.
I mean, basically he was taking the dog for a walk, so exactly what it looked like. The dog had to pull the leash.
And the dog uses ultimate and ran away. And we're taking a look towards this dragon. No, we're not. It's Cloud Dragon. No one really cares about you. And Road will move back towards the bottom side. Get another minion wave towards Jin Zhao. He was, I would say, probably 15-20 farm before. He was behind before because he got ganked. But now he's starting to catch up. 30 around 10 farm behind his opposition, which is RD here. But SKS is looking for a lane gank now.
A lot of that was alleviated by SKS hanging around in the area. Again, you think back to when Mao had to back up in the lane and Varus was forced to farm with just the arrow. But we are looking at another 3v3, possibly a 4v3 as here comes Azir.
Yeah, this is about to get spicy. In comes the Cataclysm as well. Road low, but he doesn't have the rest of the team behind him to finish him off. In comes the teleport from Amazing J, but he doesn't have the ultimate. Oh, great ultimate from SKS. He's going to finish off Clid. And RD and Mao trying to make it back. Yagao turns up into the mid lane, but what a flick in from Athena. Drags him in. There's no way he's going to get out of this one. Jin Zhao gets a return kill.
And there we go. Athena, the sleeping princess, has finally woken up. He came to play. Not only did he get a great flick on the back half of that fight, but the wall completely locked out Azir from participating.
It's going to be 2 kills back towards BLG. They are on the board. No more perfect game for JD Gaming this time around. And Yagao is trying to make his way back towards the middle lane, currently being covered by Zoom. Nafina just making his life a little bit difficult. But Road, he's low himself, but they should be able to push in this minion wave before any threat comes towards the bottom lane. And this is actually going to probably put Jin Zhao ahead in that bottom side.
And again, taking another look at this, you can see that Yagao gets the initial rotation, but he's actually caught out by some vision because he stepped into the river. Athena rotates after him, and he's going to throw the ultimate that locks Yagao inside that little crevice. So Azir is now not participating in the fight. Athena has a free walk-in, and then is going to get the fadeaway cleanup flick.
Really good stuff. Mao flashes away, but then he's caught on just the tip of Amazing J's Q, and then eventually goes down. So BLG playing that one phenomenally well. Of course, that is the hallmark of BLG's play. Put them in a team fight, they're probably going to play it well.
Still denied the blue buff, however, so tempo advantage for JD. They got their backs more timely. They were able to organize themselves, get on the map, and that's now 2 blues denied from Athena. Again, still means a ton for Talia. Doesn't have the Archangels available yet.
Though Athena has just gone, I'm probably going to not get blue this game build by going tier and the Lost Chapter, so he's definitely hunkered down, prepared for the apocalypse, but yeah, he definitely would still like that blue buff.
There may be a bit of a roam from Yagao as well.
He's thinking about it.
Here's what's interesting, is Yagao is known, as we were talking about, as kind of the signature Azir player, but I love him on Galio. He plays Galio more than any other mid laner in the LPL. He's got 11 games on the champion. And it allows him that mobility where he can start interacting with a lot of these lanes. So this 45-second, tank top Titan battle up here, he could have very easily participated in that as Galio. But Azir, he feels a bit more locked down, and I'm curious how that's going to change JD's strategy come, mid and late game if they're going to be able to run a 1-4 or 1-3-1 as effectively.
SKS and Athena looking towards this Rift Herald right here. SKS is going to zone away his enemy jungler away from this objective, and we'll also get the little spy there before backing away. He sees you, just back it up. Also blue with the spawn, so most likely going to either get that over to Yagao or take that himself. Clearly is thinking about that situation right now. And looking back towards this bottom lane. Oh, I hear Sion. Oh no, he's just going back to lane, don't you? It's fine. But we are going to just jam out to Sion, rocking up into the top lane for a couple seconds.
First time I Sion ulted, that was an experience.
Was that, whoa, did you, it was base skin?
I basically stopped for like 2 seconds, because I didn't realize you had to hold down.
Oh, right, yeah. It's not like Kled Charge where it just kind of, it's like a quick time event.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just kind of...
I was going for a ride, about 2 feet.
Oh, predicted the dodge, didn't happen.
Like that hook, which was about 2 feet wide.
That's what... I forgive him. It's like, at this point, when you're in professional play, it's like, will the guy dodge or won't the guy dodge? And then you get multiple layers of mind games. And in that situation, Jin Zhao thought about dodging but didn't dodge. So then he missed the hook.
Usually when they're lined up against a wall like that, you just pick the distance.
I mean, sure, but...
Because they can't dodge.
Yeah, you're not wrong, but I'm just giving him an out, okay? Amazing J is just going to carry on clearing out the top wave. We don't really need to talk about the top lane. We can move back towards the middle lane, though, where Athena has definitely recovered, though he is taking a bunch of damage from Yagao, who has finished his Nash's too. So he is hurting quite a lot right now. And usually, we'd be looking towards an objective on the board for the teams to fight over. And that is unfortunately a Cloud Dragon, so neither team super invested in trying to go towards that one at 16 minutes into the game. However, bot tower is gradually being eroded here by Bilibili Gaming.
What the teams are looking for is viable gank opportunities. And the thing is there's more emphasis on BLG's composition because they're not going to scale. I mean, they'll scale okay, but they're still looking down the barrel of an Azir. And so they need to make things happen. But it's relatively difficult when SKS is on someone like Skarner. Yeah, he's got the lockdown and the drag. But a lot of the time, LPL teams are picking Azir into Skarner because it makes it that much harder for him to get into the fights and find a viable target.
Yeah, of course, just bring the wall up, and then Skarner is just going to be a South Level Scorpion. Can't really get an Impale off onto anybody. Road's going to roam up here, take out some wards in the river, try and maintain control over this area. That's what BLG have managed to do, even though they are down in kills. A couple kills that went down earlier has allowed them to try and put some vision in the bottom jungle for JD Gaming. And indeed the river there, though Clid is moving towards the bottom lane to try and defend this one, as it is completely exposed, though. I'm pretty sure this tower is not long for this world, and Rhodes and Jinjiao should be able to pick this up, though. There's going to be an engage there by Clid. Who else is actually coming, though, when there's 1 versus 2? Well, his lane is close, but BLG is much closer. FLICKR drag, but it's going to be a Flash Scorpion coming at you. Clid very low, but he's still surviving for now. Takes the Lantern back to Mao, and now Jinjiao is under attack, and he throws out the Feather Storm. Comes back with a reverse Blade Caller, but he is dead.
Missed the hook, hit the flay, it's all good. Mao cleans it up in the end right there. Clid may be going a little bit too ham, walks away with his life though. Pretty much saying like, you are not taking this for free. You will fight us here, but ultimately the first tower still goes over to BLG.
Yeah, Jinjiao just kind of caught with his pants down. I was definitely in the Jinjiao camp, however. I thought that it was going to be totally fine. BLG reached the situation before anyone else, but unfortunately did fall in the end. That is extra gold, however, over to BLG. So starting to equalize that major goal total you can see at the top of your screen.
And so what's curious are now what the lane assignment's going to be for BLG. Although, as we're going to go into a replay, you're basically going to see Clid just go from 0 to 100 real quick, launch onto Jinjiao, and it's because he knows that his Thresh is coming up, so he's like, I have the added safety that I can flag and drag because I ulted in, and the Dark Passage is coming. And the Dark Passage actually does save him here. I love this hook, right between the wickets, splits him, but it's fine, finds the flash play, they get the kill in the end, so Jinjiao does pay for that tower. And what I was going to ask is what the lane assignment's going to be. So instead of being BLG being able to swap Australian-style lanes, put their duo up into the top, they're forced actually to respond to the hard push bottom. So again, good tempo read from JD to make sure that the map doesn't spiral out of their control.
Yeah, but it is still just that extra bit of gold going over to BLG right now. And again, no one has even touched the dragon, though Clid is just taking Harold for a walk. So we'll see where he goes in the end, though. It looks like BLG are collapsing towards the area right now with the entirety of their team, so they're definitely prioritizing this one to try and open up the game from here on out.
And they're going to get a strong green light because you can see Varus on the bottom of your screen already down there trying to prioritize the tower, so it should be an uncontested Herald unless Clid maybe wants to go for a steal. Super dangerous, though.
It would almost certainly be a one-way trip as Athena is playing Bodyguard right now.
Not the Death Sentence, the Lantern. Hello,
Dark
Zoom.
Passage. Hello, Zoom is just wandering down memory lane right now, just going 1 versus 5, but Clid comes in. There's going to be Smite coming down from SKS, however, and Zoom is trying to walk it out. Hook lands onto the AD carry. He's thinking about engaging, but Mao backs away. Clid finds Athena. He forces him to flash, and Zoom is still alive somehow in the middle of 4 people. Finally dies, buys a bunch of time, but he's going to trade his life with Athena's.
And here we can see why JD are the playoff gatekeepers and not playoff contenders. Because while I like the fact that they have the confidence in the mechanics to try to make an execution like that in a clear 4v5 where they were late to the rotation, they didn't have the vision down, and they went for it anyway, it's still a super risky call. Works out because they get mid lane priority and they can translate it into a tower, but if that teamfight had gone sideways, they lose so much. It's just a very high risk and pretty medium reward.
But they got the medium reward, so it was worth it. They didn't manage to get the Herald, however, they did break open the mid lane tower. They traded 1-for-1 top laner for mid lane
But
here.
the Herald can now just be used to even out the mid lane tower. So in the long progression of it all, it could just be a wash. But Zoom, he walks in front of 4 people. They all then just like zone in, like target locked on him, and meanwhile Athena's like, guys, I'm trying to, you know, zone out 3 people over here, gets caught by RD, who has walked all the way from bottom lane to participate in this fight.
Yeah, very much got split up there, but BLG seems to tunnel so hard. They're like the seagulls from Nemo. They just went all in on that guy. And it's just like, at some point you probably need to back away or just send 2 people towards him, but eventually Zoom buys enough time where he just ends up dying.
I feel like they were more, what's his name? The seal with the bucket?
Oh, in Finding Dory?
Yes. Gerald, that's
Gerald.
his name.
That's just because you love Gerald. Like, that's
Oh,
all
I
you
love
ever talk about
Gerald.
when you talk about that film. definitely think it was the Seagulls. Anyway, BLG are going to move towards the Dragon here. It's going to be the Cloud Dragon, first one of the game at 21 minutes. No one cares about the Cloud Dragon.
What's next?
Which is sad. If
I think it's another Cloud. Okay.
Oh, it's a Mountain Dragon. There we go. So both teams will be a little bit more happy to try and get rough and ready over that one. And that's also a Banner of Command picked up by Amazing JD, which has just been activated. So sad times for Zoom.
It's also going to be a really nice Dragon timer for BLG because it's going to be about 27 minutes in the game. If you take a look at Xayah's itemization, by 27 minutes, she's going to have her core itemization there, the second completed attack speed item. Whereas right now, JD have the 2 completed items on Varus. So they're the ones that are going to drive tempo for a little bit. They feel really confident to fight. They feel really strong right now. And you can already kind of see that. But Banner of Command against Swain, that's going to be tough.
Yeah, it's going to be sad times, just as sad it is for Vladimir, though I am looking towards mid lane as the Herald has been spawned, and Herald is confused as the tower is already dead. So it looks like it's going to be a bit of a waste here unless BLG continue to push the middle lane, and Zoom is dealing with that kind of in the bottom lane. It seems like they will back away. So in the end, Herald didn't really buy them that much. It was really just moving towards mid lane and a trade in towers.
Yeah, just neutralizing the skirmish that happened initially over the Herald pit. But again, this is what JD, when we talk about their identities, talk about kind of the shells that they run, what I kept noticing is they like to prioritize a lot of mobility on their compositions. Again, Galio is such a signature pick for them. He can hit pretty much anywhere, anytime on the map. But it's how they use that, not necessarily to create fights, but to rotate very quickly around skirmishes and then transfer that into objectives. They're actually a very smart team for the LPL. Unfortunately, they don't have the experience or the patience to execute as cleanly as they would like on how smart some of their plays are.
Yeah, they're a bit of an IKEA team. They have all the pieces, but they haven't quite assembled it yet. Though we did see a bunch of that towards the start of the split. You know, JD came out swinging, and they looked like one of the very strong teams. In fact, we were heralding them as the team that kind of lived up to the hype. Versus when we look at like FPX and Rogue Warrior, it's like, wow, JD, they were the real deal.
Yeah, and the question is you know, how would they be able to reinvent themselves without Doinby? They have a very different identity in this mid laner, Yagao. Yes, Doinby was kind of known for his supportive style, but he can also do the carry, but he kind of had to flex between the two. Yagao is a carry, and he is a playmaker in a very big way, and it has just dramatically changed the team, and now they've kind of gone from reboot, where they've been successful, they're no longer a last place team in the LPL, to now kind of remixing it, you know, bringing in already over Loken and bringing in even more veteranship status.
So not like a Sony Spider-Man reboot, but like a Marvel
this is definitely
remake.
This is definitely Homecoming.
Yeah, exactly. It looks much better. Clear, however, is going to find both Road and SKS right now. Jinzhao walking up the river. In comes Satya Wars while splitting up the fight. Yagao's going to come in as well. And Amazing J, huge damage into the bottom side. Wipes out the bottom lane from existence. And Clear will flash over the wall. Zoom, he's not taking any damage though. He's just sat in the middle of the entire team, tanking them all up. Looks for the ultimate. That was a bit lackluster. And in the end, will end up dying. Flash comes over the decimating smash. And Amazing J, he wants more. Brings up the wall of soldiers, and that should be the disengage. 3 kills to Bilibili Gaming.
But the fact that the Azir wall comes up after the fight is done tells you all you need to know about what happened there. SKS now on the Baron, has multiple members to take it up for him, and Clid, this would be the miracle if you get it.
He's looking for it. Road is going to play body block right now. Clears his ward, and Clid, he just wants to get into the pit, but he's too low health really to deal with this. They even sent Athena over, but they've actually... The amount of people left on the pit, I'm not sure they can take it. It is so slow, and there are so many low health bars. Eventually, JD managed to take it as a battle on 2 fronts, but in the end, that is the Baron down, and Bilibili come out massively ahead.
So what's crazy here is Clid finds 2 people. He starts it up. He doesn't have the damage to follow. Athena then does a great job splitting Yagao off. He immediately drops the wall. But this T-Bone, just straight from the side, blind side, it hits them at the exact same time as Xayah does. They blow up, and now suddenly there's so much less damage, and JD are fighting from the low ground. They've been backed into this tiny little choke point. They're against Xayah, so it's really scary to step forward, and they have to cede all of the ground in the entire fight.
Man, it's really fun just watching Swain wade into 5 people, but then you expect a big payoff because he's been standing there for so long, but then it's just really lackluster when he's like, and then that's ultimate and he dies.
Zion just flattened people. He just literally just hit people and they exploded.
I saw that, and that was really exciting, but I'm saying
like,
from the opposite, and from the other top laner, I'm expecting just something as cool, but then we didn't really see it because Swain ultimate. But yeah, in the end, that puts BLG ahead in terms of gold, and they have the Baron. Now they're shoving it down mid lane.
And they do have a decent sieging comp because they do have the ability to threaten underneath the tower with both the Skarner as well as the Talia, but they need to get their creeps up to the tower. And you can see right now they just got obliterated right there.
We've got Baron up caster minion. So this is the ghetto version of the cannon. And it will just be instantly taken away. Nice hook coming out there onto Road and FLICKR as well. Going to be pulling him back towards the team. Road's taking a bunch of damage, but there's going to be another hook landing onto Jin. In comes Clint. He pops the ultimate, but he never even reaches the ground. He's just off in orbit right now. We'll never see him again.
It's going to get a little bit easier when you decide to step off the tower and into the blender there, as BLG do pick up a kill. Like I said, you know, if they ever get to the tower, their threat to either pull you off of the structure or immediately flick you off is very terrifying. But Yagao pretty much being the one-man show, which is why this blue buff is so important. Because as soon as he ran low on mana, that was going to be the go for BLG to say, we can approach this tower, we can threaten with a dive or at least some sort of pick and force it down.
So they didn't move into the middle lane and force it. They decided to back away there, move back into normal lane. And Silence Amazing J is going to move towards the top side with his teleport, actually looking towards his dragon now that's spawning in 10 seconds.
And now we can hopefully see the really cool thing about the composition. I've been waiting to talk about this, but it's actually very similar to a style of comp that JD would actually run. Again, we talk about the mobility, their ability to play a 1-3-1. You have Talia and Sion. You have so much mobility on this comp. And now that you have Baron and the ability to apply it to all 3 lanes, there's no reason that BLG shouldn't be able to maximize their impact on the map, using it everywhere that they can to try to pull JD out of position. Because JD's comp is a true 5v5. They kind of took Bilibili Gaming's identity away from them.
So now it's really a question of whether Bilibili can actually make this work for themselves, because they are very much the quintessential team fight team when you get to mid and late game. And then I usually would look to something more like a 1-4, so you can easily move that one person back towards the team, look for the fight. But right now it does actually seem to be what they're doing. They are going for the 1-4 instead of the 1-3-1, moving this 4 towards the mid lane. We'll be able to knock this one over. And also the wave is set up here for Athena.
Yeah, finally used that mobility that we were just talking about. It's like, I've prepared this one earlier. Athena pulls out the pie from the oven as we're waiting for the other one to bake, and they take 2 towers for free.
Yep, it's going to be off of their Baron buff here, but that should be all she wrote because Baron buff has just worn off, and that will be the entirety of their Baron power play. However, it has put them around 3,500 gold ahead of their counterparts, JD Gaming here. So Bilibili have definitely stepped up using that Baron. We'll see what else they can take now as the map will reset. There was no Baron, there's no Dragon, there's no major objectives for either team, really.
Yep, next one will be a Cloud, but depending on how long it takes to take that one, we may not see the face of an Elder for a very long time.
True, true.
I feel like this is almost going to come to a secondary Baron. So kind of talking about these compositions super late game, I feel like there's always this point in the LPL because our Azir players are so strong that it's like, can you end the game before Azir can be a one-man army and just infinitely clear waves, not care about any sort of Baron buff, and then just like slowly grind the game back away from you?
I don't have an answer. I mean, obviously that's got to be what Bilibili Gaming are going to try and do here, try and accelerate that game towards that. But I think you might be right. We might be looking towards this next Baron, which will be spawning in around 3 minutes from now, 4 minutes.
And that's the key thing, though, is that the adjustments to Elder Dragon and to Baron should make that not a possibility anymore. Unfortunately, we really haven't seen it tested in the LPL yet, and we have seen some crazy long Azir-specific comebacks. But this also means that JD has to kind of come out of their shell. They're not going to be able to turtle as effectively despite having the Azir because they need to start contesting these objectives.
And BLG are already setting up around the top side as well preemptively. So that's where you find them, meet them on the field. But yeah, BLG have already set up this pre-vision. So next time they can come back and refresh the vision and then move back towards the Baron. So it seems like they are indeed on the same page. Yagao is just going to soak up more and more minion waves. It's actually interesting. We're 30 minutes in and he's only on two and a half items, I would say. Like Azir has a long way to grow.
He's been doing a lot of walking. And there's also the fact that you have 2 QSSs on both your carries. Varus and Azir have completed them. So you had stalls in between finishing their core itemization.
It's one of the reasons why LPL do like the Skarner. I mean, everyone likes the Skarner right now, but it's also you pick up suppression champions and forces the opponent to pick up QSSs, so it puts their build more behind. You can kind of deduct the gold total from the total gold. Especially on carries, it's going to be especially as important, but that's our 3rd item also for Yagao, so he's got a nice little core item build set up for himself now. And JD are able to push out, try and gain some vision once once again around the river.
Oh, the classic 30-minute room.
I was going to say, this is a...
I was like, there better be a gathering storm on there. There's not.
Yeah, we're like 90 minutes in. They showed a keystone. It's like, okay, I'll forgive you. There's a gathering storm. There's not even a gathering storm here. We're seeing
It's all about the biscuit, yo.
Yeah, well, we're not getting any biscuits anymore. The deliveries have stopped.
That was the joke.
They went out of business. Oh, okay. Anyway, so BLG are going to move towards the middle lane here with the whole team. We've got 3 items also on Athena, so he's also pretty big. And BLG are just trying to, once again, put vision around the Baron area. So it seems like one person comes in, they put vision, the other person comes out, they clear it and put vision, and the other team comes back in and puts vision in again.
And there's 2 strategies here. BLG could also just choose not to take the fight at all around the Baron pit. They have the Talia wall. They've used it quite effectively 3 times now in this match to lock out the advancing JD Gaming. So they either want the fight or they can just completely deny it. At this point in the game, it is late enough that they're going to burn it much faster than they did the first time around. They also have the option, because they have complete vision control, just a 5-man stack and look for a pick.
All right, who's going to be the sacrifice? Well, Road probably... I mean, you've caught Clid, but now they know exactly where the whole team is. Or was it just Road?
Here they go!
That is the bamboozle. In comes Amazing J, jumps onto Clid.
Oh, no.
But now he's just kind of by himself. Good split off by Athena. Actually, no, he's just split off his jungler from his team. Mao's going to back away, and Road comes in, leading the charge into the back line. Zhu is going to do the same on this Swain, but he has no damage behind him. He's looking for the pop, but he's going to go down. Clid runs up the ultimate just to keep Athena in a little box here to prevent him following down the team, but that's 2 kills to BLG.
Athena is on fire this game. Finds, I believe, a 3-man flick right there for majority of the damage, but that gives the go-ahead. Health bars are high. Clid is dead, so there's no contest here. It would simply be Azir trying to walk up blind to poke them off this Baron. It's not going to happen.
No, it is not. And Amazing J, did he just use his ultimate? I feel like he just used his ultimate.
I thought we were going into a replay in all honesty, and I was like, there's no one there.
What is the cooldown on his ultimate? Has he got max cooldown reduction? I guess he's pretty close, yeah. So
it is very low as well.
Yeah, that is insane. I'm just looking at his ultimate regen. That's nuts. Okay, we're going to see this again.
Hero Clid, he actually tries to block the Scion ultimate and steps in front of Varus to eat it. Now, the issue is that he misses his flag and drag and the lantern is takeaway. So Mao and RD are kind of hanging next to Clid to escort him back to safety. It means that 3 of them are bundled up when Athena finds the big flick, and then Jinjiao follows it up with the damage. They're now going all the way around the walkway, while Swain decides that it's time to go in. So pretty much every single member of JD are moving in completely different directions, and not forward together like they should be.
Yeah, Amazing J's ultimate just comes off in like 40 seconds. That's pretty nuts. But yeah, that team fight was also very interesting because Athena not only saved the team fight by getting the 3-man flick, he also just walled off SKS for most of that fight where Scarnage was sat there. It was like, well, there's nothing I can do really. But in that 4 versus 5, BLG just won it anyway. And again, Zoom walks in, he soaks all the damage, but there's no one standing behind him able to deal the damage because Yagal's doing away, and RD, well, he's probably getting flicked by Talia.
And I just feel a big issue on this composition for JD is that they just don't have consistent CC. The fact that they took a Swain, and yeah, he does have a displacement, but it's not super long range. They're entirely reliant on Clid finding a Cataclysm to start a fight or to set things up. And unfortunately, if you're constantly using your flag and drag defensively, not going to get it.
And SKS just rushes in, he grabs a victim. It's going to be Zoom this time, he's dead, so that's a 4 versus 5, but the wall has come up. So we walled off the entirety of JD. In comes the ultimate once again from Amazing J, moving towards RD himself, and Athena running down the rest of the team. Nice hook there onto Amazing J, but that shield is gigantic. He's going to be able to survive that onslaught in from JD, and that will be the inhibitor. So BLG will back of the way, and JD will live to fight another day.
And we had a lot of questions about BLG, whether they could perform on 8.4. Pulse, I've got the answer.
What is it, Frost?
They're great on 8.4. They've got the champions. They're playing the Scion very well. Probably one of the better Scion performances that we've seen in the LPL. And Athena on Talia is hot fire this game.
He definitely is. It's all kind of fitting together. And that's also after the classic BLG will drop the early game and then we'll just come back later. So they can play from behind. And I'm just hearing the silence a bit too often. He's coming back into the mid lane. He almost found Yagal, but he'll jump over the wall.
The last piece of the puzzle for BLG would be if Jin Zhao could get comfortable in this composition. Right now, he has some of the lowest stats of any ADC in the league. It's not necessarily all his fault. He's sitting with a support that doesn't spend a lot of time in his lane, likes to roam around, make other plays happen, and he's also in a league with the likes of Uzi, iBoy, Jacula, Mystic, all of these big names, so of course his stats aren't necessarily going to shine, but he is kind of the remaining factor there, and he isn't known, you know, Jin's buffs are coming up, he can play the Kog'Maw, he can play the Tristana, so he certainly should fit on this patch as well.
That's true. I'm actually surprised that SMLZ got in there before Jinjiao, you know, but both are iconic with the pick. Again, in comes Athena's wall, which allows him to knock down the mid lane tower. BLG, going to be a pull there onto Ro, but that just kind of allows him to initiate. And SKS, he's found another victim, and this time it's RD. In comes the ultimate once again. The unstoppable onslaught out from Amazing J, but it will be the disengage with the wall of soldiers from Yagao. But BLG, they're looking for the end here.
Oh, there it goes.
Ooh.
Thomas the tank, Banner the canner, they are on the Nexus towers.
It's going to be engagement cleared. They've got to do something right now, and in comes the hug once again onto SKS, but he's so tanky, and that huge shield coming up as well. SKS is still alive after they engage. Nice pull onto Amazing J into the death sentence once more, but it will not spell his end. Yes, it will. Just the final little spear poked him down. Amazing J is going to use this last couple moments in life to punch the bottom tower.
Just getting it all prepped for them. I feel like BLG are going to regroup, head towards that Cloud Dragon, and at least open up the secondary win condition of a possible Elder for us. But the Baron buff's no longer there, so they're probably going to take it slow, wait for the next big monster objective, then 5-man stack bottom.
It's just one objective after another. Both inhibitors are down now for JD Gaming. They have one left remaining. And this Cloud Dragon, as you said, will probably be falling to BLG before they look for the finish here. Almost 10,000 gold ahead of JD Gaming here. 11-8 in terms of kills, and we're approaching the 40-minute mark. So we're getting slightly longer games. These two teams are looking for those fights at the end of the day, but it does seem like BLG will be able to take this.
Which is stranger because if you look at the LPL holistically, our game times have actually gotten shorter for 8.4.
And it was already short.
Yeah, and that may also just be sample size because we haven't had a ton of games on 8.4, but the games have gotten bloodier and they've gotten shorter. This is just a very typical BLG game, and I feel like if you're looking down at BLG and it's 37 minutes in, you've almost already lost because you gave them what they're strong at, and they're only good at this. This is the only time in the game when they're actually active, is when they're grouped up, when they're allowed to use Amazing J for these big, sweeping, flanking plays, which he can do so beautifully on Sion, and you don't need to be there. Just play early game, lane phase. You can smash these guys in lane. It's what every other team has used to dismantle them.
The thing is, it's not the world's best-kept secret. Like, BLG know it. They've said it in interviews. Everyone knows it.
We've got 10 series worth of tape.
But it's not even like you need to dissect it. Like, they've even said it themselves. They've been like, you need to shut us down in the early games so we can't get to team fights. And JD were like, you got it. And now we're at 38 minutes into the game and BLG are approaching the Nexus. That was very close, and that could have been Jinjiao dying. But don't worry about it. It didn't hit.
He's got his ultimate. He's got his button ready on the trigger.
That doesn't help if he's already hit the Q, does it? And he managed to pick up the kill, but man, these hooks are so close to Athena and Jinjiao. One lands. This could be JD picking off a carry.
Now showcasing why he was confident taking the Thresh when he had the opportunity to take Braum. Fortunately, I don't think it's going to
Is that really the time to compliment him when he just missed two hooks? He's like, this is why they picked the pick. Oh, there he goes. Lands it onto SKS, but it doesn't
just got a trust fall, Pulse.
Okay. All right, I trust you. All right, RD is going to clear out the mid wave and the top wave. He's pretty much on janitorial duty now. He's time to clear out both of these mini waves. Now he's got Yagao coming in. And BLG have actually decided to give JD another chance.
But that's why the Baron buff is so important to BLG right now. It's because they are forced in a position where they have to have it to be able to close against Varus and Azir's wave clear. Good for us, though, is that 8.4 is now live. So get out of here. I'm done with this wave clear meta.
Yeah, it is a true game ender for the Baron and indeed the Elder Dragon. Those two objectives can finish off a game. Make sure that we don't go into any 90-minute games. Though it is still possible if no one picks up those objectives, but it's just far more unlikely.
This is definitely the strategy from BLG. They're just going to slowly move in here, choke out all of the vision. Again, they have the Talia wall, so if they don't want to fight it, they don't have to. And JD have one chance, one opportunity, one mom spaghetti to make this work.
They're going to give it a shot. Luckily, their top inhibitor has just respawned. Mid, not going to be so lucky, but the bottom inhibitor is not down, though BLG are going to look for a fight right here. They are split, but luckily it's the Azir who's able to run the horseshoe, go back towards his team. BLG maybe going to use this time to try and nuke down the Baron, or look for another trap using their vision control.
Here comes Sion. Oh, good blue orb.
Yeah. Good blue trinket, but how many more do they have? Here comes the engage. Oh, D's on the front line, not where he wants to be. Still gets hit by the Sion. Brings up the box, and SKS is running forward. He's looking for a victim, and in comes the redemption as well. Healing BLG back to full health. RD, he's getting Kaiser back right now, and BLG are just running them over. The Amazing J, the front line started to disintegrate. Here comes Yagao, 1 versus 4, and misses the ultimate, though he just back away, and it's not a complete wash.
And Artie plants his feet, stands strong next to Mao, and pretty much saves the team fight. I think Yagao a bit crazy on the back end. It means that he sacrifices a lot of his health bar, uses a key ultimate, and they have to give away the Baron, so a BLG win in the very end. But you can see what they were trying to go for.
Yeah, there was almost an opportunity when Amazing J's health was dropping low that once that buckled, once the front line and the armor started to drop, that maybe the squishy interior of the backline was about to fall, but didn't end up happening, and BLG will once again get the Baron.
Yeah, trying to make the hero play. Of course, it's going to be led by the Scion. There's no reason for RD to be there. He is known in the LMS as being a bit of a frontline ADC, and he pays the price here. Forces him to use his flash relatively early on in the fight, so he has to be so conscientious about how he's positioning. Thank you.
No worries.
And it means that he can't step forward confidently to try to follow up on what Yagao was trying to make happen there.
Yeah, it did burn 2 flashes in the end, though, so Yagao, I saw what he was looking for, and it almost looked good. Had that been the 4-man sweep into Soldiers, then that would have been pretty sweet. Probably would have been the Baron and the turnaround, but once again, we're here, and BLG, with their 3rd Baron of the game, are looking to finish.
But they don't have their key flashes anymore, and again, we talk about that one shot. All 3 of JD's inhibs are up. Yep. They could try to do the same exact maneuver.
There's always the Talia play. We're going to build a wall. We're going to block off JD Gaming. But they can't quite step up. I feel like the wall was slightly...
It's because they're just letting the
cannon minion.
Yeah, the cannon minion do all the work for them. So, still smart. Here we go.
A gauge. Once more, double flashes come away, and the hook lands on SKS. He wants out immediately. Clid buying some time with that Zhonya's, and SKS, he's found Zoom. He's going to pull him back into the team, and the Swain goes down like he's nothing. Amazing J gets a nice knock-up onto Clid and the AD carry here, but will be the team pushing in. SKS is low, but they have multiple cannon minions coming in, and they can move towards the inhibitors. Even if they don't finish the game, they can deal a fatal blow to JD Gaming in this push. Looking for the flick, doesn't quite land. Mount backing away, turns around, lands the hook onto Road, and it comes to the... Oh, that's going to be the kill onto Jin Jiao. Road's low, but he trades his life with Mal right here. This is going to be BLG getting routed out of the base.
That is 3 Barons, and they are forced out. Clid going aggressive.
Oh, Clid wants it. Amazing J backs away using his ultimate, but it's going to be a 1-for-2 trade, and BLG going to have to try another day.
Oh boy, and you can see some split decision-making from BLG right there. SKS actually wandered over to the top side of the map, and he was pinging the last inhib, so it seemed like a bit of miscommunication. Are we looking for the fight? Are we trying to end this? Can we get a pick? Or are we just going to take all the inhibs? In fact, there's the other ping. It's like, okay, reset. We got a few Barons out of that base. Let's now 5-man stack top lane and try to clean this one out.
And it seems like JD, even though they are on massively the back foot right here, and that's not really an English sentence, but what I'm trying to say is that JD Gaming, like, they're still managing to hold on, even though they are so far down, like 11,000 gold, but they're still able to push towards the play and make it happen.
But it also...
Oh, that's an interesting animation. Clid's going to get pulled into Amazing J's Decimating Smash, but back away.
I don't really know who won out there.
I think everyone was confused, to be honest.
He was like Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah.
The gold lead doesn't matter at this point of the game, however. We are late enough that everyone has almost 6 items, and here we go.
Rose pushing forwards, comes in with the Fissure, and Amazing J. He wants to block up that front line. Yagao and Mao can split from the team, but looking for that hug. Decimating Smash and Jin Jiao only now joining the team, looking towards the other Dragon. Oh, it gets taken out by Yagao. Is it going to be able to try and win this fight, though? Zoom, he's still protecting RD. He's at the back of the pit. Amazing J doesn't have any with him, and Yagao pushes in Amazing J. He's doing the damage. This it. Turns around, he will fall. RD turns towards Amazing J, and in depth, he's doing so much damage, but he's getting a kited away from 3 kills for 3. It's a 2 versus 2.
I can't tell who was more hero, though. Amazing J being able to clean up so many kills in the back half. Hold on, not over. Athena, he could get his passive here if he stays close to the wall.
Yeah, it's the wide flank coming in, but Redemption comes down, healing up Zoom. Oh no, it's the opposite of that. Athena clearing in around RD. Rhodes also chasing him down. He's moving towards the minion wave of all things. And Zoom, he might just decide to be the sacrificial lamb. Try to kite up for RD. Give him a front line of anything right now, but he's going to die to that flick. RD clearing out the minions, but he might just die to this final punch. Triple supers on the Nexus, plus Rhodes and Athena. Can RD do the impossible as he walks up to the Nexus? He's getting blocked up by Road, and Athena, he's slowly chipping away, but in comes Clid. Can he do it? Knock it onto Athena, but the Nexus is too low. 45 minutes, and that will be the win to BLG.
Woo! That was a nail biter.
That was a roller coaster.
I think I've never seen Athena sit up from his seat. He was like, hands shaking, got it done. It's fine. BLG, they still have to close out the remainder of the series, though, but Athena, that guy on your screen, played a hero performance in game number 1. Early, mid, and late game, cleaning it out.
They may be funny looking, and all their features do different things, but the Platypus reigned victorious today in game 1.
They got talents.
They do. They have talents. They have a weird beak thing, but hey, it worked out. Whatever you've got to do, son. get in there. BLG take game 1 against JD Gaming, though that was a hero defense. We were sat here for like 20 minutes where JD were just clawing and clawing, trying to get back into that game.
Very similar situation that JD have found themselves in again. I believe it was possibly against Suning, where they had that miracle attempted comeback, but JD couldn't make it happen this time around. They tried to draft the 5v5 composition, they took away the Azir, and they tried to meet Bilibili Gaming on the battlefield, 5 versus 5, and they crumbled.
You might have to go back to the drawing board in that one. Maybe meeting BLG with their core strategy, not the best of ideas. But Yagal, he tried his heart out. Look at that damage done, the most in the game on the Azir as well. So they tried, they got so far, but in the end, it didn't matter.
Yeah, Bilibili showing that they know how to play 8.4, that they've got other picks in their back pocket, and now you have to consider the Scion throughout this draft phase because AJ looked great on it.
Yeah, AJ looked great in the top lane. Athena, as you said, looks great in the mid lane. And bot lane, maybe the only real weak link, if you look at it. They got kind of stomped out in the early game, but they recovered, and as long as the team is doing well and they can get to team fights, which is, you know, the BLG mantra, then we're okay.
Yeah, and so now it's just focusing on Jin Zhao, but I don't necessarily think he's a problem right now when you're so coordinated around your jungle, top, and mid. Top side of the map's great for BLG.
Yeah, it's really looking towards JD and their adaptation coming into that second game. Though, that's our thoughts. We're going to send it over to the answer desk to get theirs.
Why is everyone calling them the platypus? Clement needs a majestic creature that's not meant to be made fun of.
Alright, here's why they're the platypus, okay? They have a roaming bot lane in their support road, but he has nowhere to roam to. That's like a platypus, okay? You're an otter with a bill. Why do you need the bill? What? It doesn't do anything.
Oh, okay. Well,
all right. That's my analysis of like of why BLG, like they have a lot of strengths, but their pieces don't necessarily fit together like in a perfect sense. You know, there's things sticking out of that puzzle.
Moving into picks and bans for that match, though, the real platypus there is Swain, because we've seen Swain picked up so many times, and I still don't quite understand why teams are picking the champion. He doesn't do anything.
So Swain, the reason they picked it here is because they wanted to bully Amazing J in lane. And I have to say that Swain on 8.5 is significantly better than Swain on 8.4. And here are the reasons. You cannot get blocked on your ultimate in 8.5, and it also has a lower threshold, so you can use your ultimate faster in terms of team fights. Now, in 8.4, however, players have said he is clunky as hell. I just think they didn't read the patch notes through, and they're like, you know what? Let's just think of some reason to keep Amazing J down. We're going to keep AJ down, you know? He's not as handsome as he thinks. We're going to send it in the Birdman, and he's going to do his job, but it never works. It has never worked in the LPL, and I wish that they don't pick it anymore.
I mean, the only thing we really saw from it was the early game where Clit actually had a really good start on the Java. We were kind of criticizing that on the desk when he picked up the champion while the casters were casting the match. But then he kind of showed us why he went for the champion, because he was very aggressive early on, got a lot of ganks going as well for his team.
And this is why we say Clit is such a great player. You know, we have the clips here. Level 2 gank early, gets the summoners, and look at that execution. That was beautiful. EQ flash, secures the first blood onto AJ in the top lane. And he's able to do that in the bot lane again. I mean, Clit, this player is very good around vision. He understands what the enemy jungle is seeing, and he's often able to get these counter ganks in. Now, counter ganks are the hardest part for a jungler to execute. And this is the platypus play, you know, like, where is Road gonna go? I mean, they don't have, like, his mid laner doesn't wake up until 20 minutes. Why does he need to roam, okay? And here again, Clit on another great play in the bot lane, goes in, knows the threshold he can take, understands how much damage he can really sustain, heal saves him, and they get another great pick into the bot lane. I will say, however, this game also showcased why Clit was benched, because a lot of times in the mid game around Baron, he's going into these scenarios where he doesn't have vision on the backline, and he's just EQing straight in onto a Braum, and his team is getting punished for it. So we're seeing like the great parts of Clit and also kind of the weak parts.
Like this, where this is exactly where BLG were able to turn around the game completely.
Yes, and in this play, you look at it, their laners are really far away, they're kind of slower on the collapse, and RD is completely out of position. He had a flash, didn't use it, and he just gets ran over. That's road rage, you know? He's flat on the tarmac, he's like baking in the sun, and the rest of this is just like the fallout of RD basically being ran over.
And that was a BLG able to take over the match, and we knew that JDG had a good early game. They executed it very well in that matchup. However, BLG, they're known for being that late game team fighting team ever since they were Iron Man. They're known to be able to make those comeback plays, and that's what started the comeback.
Yeah, that's what they're good at. I wouldn't call them the best, but that's what they're good at.
And they executed it well. It came down to one final Elder Dragon team fight, where we saw already JDG were trying to make their way back into the match, trying to claw back that late game, and even though they got the Elder Dragon, it still went to BLG.
Yeah, this is a really messy team fight. So Jingdong had the early position first, and I wanted the early wall was really good because it actually knocked Azir out of his EQ, so he could not join the fight over the wall. However, they do secure the Elder Drake for Jingdong, and it looks good from here. It looks like they're going to finally, you know, win the fight. You know, I was doing the Birdman gesture, the Azir was popping up, the Swain was good, they got the Xayah down, but in the end, I actually kind of give this team fight over to Jingdong, but the map situation was too poor for them. Like, they weren't able to clean up basically after that.
Amazing Jay, he went down with his pass, was able to pick up a final kill in that team fight. He gets the MVP.
Look at that damage share. That damage share is ridiculous. 19.8% on someone that's not even building damage.
I believe he has one of the highest damage shares for a top laner in our league at the moment. Amazing Jay, able to impress again, was driving the train through mid lane quite a few times.
Yeah, I love the play where he was 6 items and he was doing like a Mario Odyssey play. He was like choo-choo train through the mid lane and picking up all the minion gold. And like Athena was not happy with that. Athena was actually pinging him. It's like, I'm not full item build. Can you leave the minions? Like, no, I can't hear you. And just go straight through the mid lane. But great game from him.
They make the comeback play. JDG tried to hold on for as long as they possibly could. It just wasn't enough. And now the question really is, was JD playing that early game really well, or were BLG just able to hold on? Because it was a very chaotic match.
I really like Jingdong's early game. I give them that credit, but I don't think they're able to follow it through. And it's just the vision play they play around mid game is too callous. Like, they just go in without setting up proper vision, and that's been a big point of criticism for us, and especially for Clid.
And BLG were able to punish that, and they're able to pick up the victory in game number 1. We're going to go to a short break. We're back with game 2 shortly.